Hello everyone. This is class 27 on income tax for BCom 5th semester students. Today we are going to solve one last sum on residential status and incidence of tax. In today's class, we are going to solve a case study wherein you will find residential status of individual as well as you will find gross total income of the same. Let me read the case study. Mrs. Julia is a foreign citizen. She came to India for a period of 150 days during the previous year 2019-20. In earlier previous year, her stay in India was as follows. In the year 2018 and 19, she has not stayed in India for a single day. That is why the number of days is nil. During 2017-18, she has not stayed in India. That is the reason the number of days of stay of Mrs. Julia is nil. In the year 16-17, she has stayed for 115 days. In the year 2015-16, for 350 days. In the year 14-15, 185 days. 13-14, 150 days. 12-13, 330 days. 2011-12, 185 days, 2010-11, 200 days, and 2009-10, 150 days. During the previous year 2019-20, she has following incomes. Interest on company deposits in India 70,000. Income deemed to accrue in India 50,000. Income from business in Nepal, controlled from India, 40% of which is received in India. Total amount is 40,000. Dividend from an Indian company, 3,000. Salary received in India for services rendered in Nepal, 30,000. Interest received outside India from the government of India, 10,000. Royalty received in India from the government of India 20,000. Interest received from a foreign company outside India on loan which is utilized for doing business in India rupees 70,000. You are asked 3 questions. Number 1, determine her residential status on the basis of above information. Question 2, would your answer be different if Julia is of an Indian origin? Question 3. Compute the gross total income for the assessment year 2021 if Mrs. Julia is a non-resident. So first, we have to determine the residential status if Mrs. Julia is a foreign citizen. Let us solve the first one. First case is residential status of Mrs. Julia if she is a foreign citizen. To check residential status of any individual, we have to check basic as well as additional conditions. We have 2 basic conditions and 2 additional conditions. First basic condition is stay in India for 182 days or more in the previous year. In the sum it is given Mrs. Julia has stayed in India in the previous year for 150 days. Read the first line. The number of days she has stayed in India is 150 days. Therefore, first basic condition is not fulfilled. Wherein second basic condition is stay in India for 60 days in the previous year plus 365 days in 4 preceding previous years. As Mrs. Julia has stayed in India for 150 days, that means she has stayed in India for more than 60 days where she fulfills first half of the basic condition. Plus 365 days in 4 preceding previous years. Now we have to check out of 4 preceding previous years for how many days Mrs. Julia has stayed in India. For this, we have to refer the table given in the sum. Here in the table we can see 4 preceding previous years starts from the year 2015-16 and it ends on 2018-19. So out of 4 preceding previous years, first 2 preceding previous years, Mrs. Julia was not there in India. Therefore, it is nil. But next 2 preceding previous years, if we total it, we get 115 plus 350. Total we get 465 days. Therefore, Miss Julia has stayed in India for 465 days out of 4 preceding previous years. She has stayed for 465 days, wherein we require 365 days out of 4 preceding previous years. Therefore, here we can say Miss Julia has fulfilled the second basic condition. Next, we have to check the additional conditions. The first additional condition says Mrs. Julia has been resident for 2 previous years out of 10 preceding previous years. Here, we have to check the table to identify for how many days Mrs. Julia was resident in India. Let us refer the table given in the sum. Here you can see for first 2 years she was not resident in India, but rest all 10 years she was resident in India. That is the reason we can say that Mrs. Julia has fulfilled additional condition number 1, that is resident for 2 years or more than 2 years out of 10 preceding previous years. So first additional condition is fulfilled by Mrs. Julia. After checking this, let us check whether she has stayed in India for 730 days out of 7 preceding previous years or no. Again, to identify this, we have to check the table given in the sum. Here in the table, last 7 preceding previous years starts from year 2012-13 and it ends on 2018-19. So when we total the number of days Mrs. Julia stayed in India in last 7 preceding previous years, that is 330 plus 150 plus 185 plus 350 plus 115, we get a total figure of 1130. And the second additional condition says that Mrs. Julia has to stay in India for 730 days out of 7 preceding previous years. As Mrs. Julia has stayed for 1130 days, which is more than 730 days out of 7 preceding previous years, we can say that she has fulfilled second additional condition also. So, right, even she has fulfilled the second additional condition. Let us come to the conclusion now. Mrs. Julia has fulfilled second basic condition plus she has fulfilled both the additional condition. So when any individual satisfies or fulfills one basic plus 2 additional condition, the person is known as ordinarily resident in India. So we have to write conclusion: ordinarily resident in India. This is the residential status of Mrs. Julia if she is a foreign citizen. Coming to the second case study with the same information, but here you are given that find out the residential status of Mrs. Julia if she is a person of Indian origin. If she is a person of Indian origin, then we have to check only one basic condition. And second basic condition is not applicable when she is of a Indian origin and leaves India or goes out of India for some other reason. Here we are checking only first basic condition and second basic condition is not applicable. Let us check the first basic condition. As in the sum it is given that Mrs. Julia has stayed in India only for 150 days. So basic condition number 1, that is stay in India for 182 days or more in the previous year, is not fulfilled by her. Not fulfilled by Mrs. Julia. Where second basic condition is not applicable. These rules you have studied in the previous classes. Additional condition, both the additional conditions are fulfilled. First as well as second additional conditions are fulfilled by Mrs. Julia. What will be her residential status? She has not fulfilled basic condition number 1. Basic condition number 2 is not applicable, wherein additional conditions are fulfilled. Here, the residential status of Mrs. Julia, if she is a person of an Indian origin, she is non-resident. Why she is non-resident? Because she has failed to fulfill the basic condition itself. Non-resident in India. I hope you have understood the difference. Coming to the last point, computation of gross total income of Mrs. Julia if she is a non-resident in India. To find out gross total income, we have to make 4 columns. First column is income. Second, if she is ordinarily resident. Second, if she is not ordinary resident. Third, if she is non-resident. If you wish, you can directly prepare only 2 columns, income and non-resident column, as clearly you are asked in the question, find out her gross total income if she is non-resident in India. I am preparing all the 3 columns, ordinary, not ordinary as well as non-resident. Let us start. First we have to take Indian income, then foreign income, then exempted income, and finally past untaxed foreign income brought into India in the previous year. Let us check out all the Indian incomes that are given in the sum. First information that is provided to us is interest on company deposits in India. Interest on company deposits in India is 70,000 rupees. So write down 70,000 rupees in all the columns as it is Indian income and it is taken in all the 3 columns, that is to all the residential status, ordinary, not ordinary as well as non-resident. Second Indian income given in the sum is income deemed to accrue in India. Income deemed to accrue in India is also considered as Indian income and Indian income is taxable to all the residential status. Therefore 50,000 rupees we are taking in all the columns. Take down 50,000 in all the 3 columns. Third income is income from business in Nepal, controlled from India, but 40% is received in India. Any income which is received in India is Indian income. The income from business in Nepal, controlled from India, your given amount in the sum 40,000, but only 40% is received in India. So 40% of 40,000 comes to 16,000, which is treated as Indian income. So take down 16,000 as Indian income and take it in all the columns. 16,000 rupees. Coming to next, salary received in India for services rendered in Nepal. Salary received is in India, therefore it is considered as Indian income and it amounts to rupees 30,000. Therefore it is taken in all the columns as it is Indian income. Take down 30,000 rupees in all the columns. Next information given to us is interest received outside India from Government of India. It amounts to rupees 10,000. As it is received from Government of India, it is treated as Indian income and Indian income is taxable in all the columns. Next is royalty received in India from Government of India. Royalty received from Government of India, again an Indian income taken in all the three columns. It amounts to 20,000. Take amount 20,000 all the three columns. And last, interest received from a foreign company. Interest received from a foreign company outside India, in bracket you are given, on which the loan is utilized for doing business in India. The base is in India, therefore it has to be treated as Indian income and Indian income is taxable in all the three columns. Therefore take down 70,000 rupees in all the three columns. We are done with all the Indian incomes. Now next is foreign income. In case of foreign income, you are given only one information, that is income from business in Nepal, but it is controlled from India. You are given amount 40,000 rupees, but out of 40,000, 40% is received in India. The remaining amount is foreign income. So 40,000 minus 60,000, or directly you can find 40,000 into 60%. What is the amount that you get? 40,000 into 60%. It is 24,000 and we are taking it in two columns as the business is being controlled from India. Next is exempted income, that is dividend from an Indian company is exempted from tax. That is the reason we are not taking this amount while computing gross total income. Exempted income amount are written nil in the amount column while computing gross total income. Past untaxed foreign income is also not given in the sum, so do not write any amount there, keep it blank. Now find out gross total income. The gross total income in case of ordinarily resident comes to rupees 2,90,000. Not ordinarily resident 2,90,000, wherein in case of non-resident the gross total income is 2,66,000. The question that is asked to us is computation of gross total income of Mrs. Julia if she is a non-resident in India. So we have to check the gross total income of last column, which is non-resident. So gross total income of Mrs. Julia if she is non-resident, it comes to 2,66,000. You are given a question which is case study and you are asked three different questions. One is determine the residential status on the basis of above information. That means if Mrs. Julia is a foreign citizen. If Mrs. Julia is a foreign citizen and by considering the given above information, we find that she is ordinarily resident in India. The second question was asked to us is residential status of Mrs. Julia if she is a person of Indian origin. If she is a person of Indian origin, only basic condition number 1 is applicable, basic condition number 2 is not applicable, wherein she fails to fulfill the first basic condition, she is non-resident in India. And the third question asked to us was computation of gross total income of Mrs. Julia if she is a non-resident. So the total of last column is gross total income of Mrs. Julia if she is non-resident, and that amount comes to 2,66,000. In examination, if you are asked case study on residential status, it will be of such kind, wherein you will be asked to find the residential status also. Simultaneously, you will be asked to find the gross total income for one particular residential status. This is our last class on second unit. Next class will be taken by Neeril Keri sir on third unit, that is income from salary.